It's 1960, the island of Jersey, a British territory in the English Channel. Population, barely 60,000 people. Everyone knows everyone. Doors stay unlocked. Children play outside until dark. Safe, peaceful, idyllic. Then children start waking up screaming. Someone's in their bedrooms, in the dark, wearing a mask, a wig, nails painted, a horrifying costume. For 11 years, this creature terrorizes Jersey's children, breaking into homes, assaulting kids in their beds, vanishing into the night. The island knows who's doing it. They suspect, they whisper, but nobody stops him. Because the beast of Jersey isn't a stranger, he's one of them. This is the story of Edward Paisnel, builder by day, pillar of the community, loving husband and father. And by night, something else entirely. Something much, much worse. Let me take you to Jersey in 1960. It's a small island, only 9 miles by 5. You can drive across it in 20 minutes. It's between England and France, but it's British, sort of. Jersey has its own laws, its own government, its own way of doing things. And in 1960, it's stuck in the past, traditional, conservative, closed off. Everyone knows everyone's business. Families have lived here for generations. Outsiders are noticed immediately. There are no secrets on an island this small. Or so people think. July 1960. A family in St. Martin Parish goes to bed like any other night. Their children are asleep upstairs. The parents hear nothing unusual. No breaking glass, no forced doors, no sounds of entry. But at 2 a.m., their 9-year-old daughter starts screaming. The parents rush upstairs. Their daughter is hysterical. She says a man was in her room, wearing a mask, a wig, strange clothes. He touched her, then he ran away when she screamed. The parents search the house. Nothing. They check outside. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. All doors and windows were locked. They call the police. The police search. Find nothing. They take a statement from the terrified girl, and then they do what everyone on Jersey does in 1960. They keep quiet about it. Don't want to cause a panic. Don't want to look bad. Keep it within the family. But 2 weeks later, it happens again. Different house, different family, same story. A child wakes up, someone's in the room, masked, disguised, touching them, then gone like a ghost. Then it happens again and again and again. By the end of 1960, there have been 10 reported incidents, 10 families, 10 terrified children, all across the island. The Jersey police realize they have a problem, a serious problem. Someone is breaking into homes, targeting children, and they have no idea who it is. They start investigating. But here's the issue. Jersey in 1960 doesn't have much crime. The police aren't equipped for this. No forensics team, no criminal profilers, no databases. And the victims? They can barely describe the attacker. It's dark. He's wearing a mask, sometimes a wig, heavy makeup, a costume, almost like he's dressed for a play or a ritual. The only consistent detail, the mask. Witnesses describe it as horrifying. Not a simple ski mask, something elaborate, handmade, grotesque. And the attacker is strong, very strong. He can climb walls, break into second-story windows, overpower adults if they try to stop him, then vanish without a trace. The police patrol neighborhoods, they watch homes, they set up checkpoints. Nothing. He's too smart, too careful, always one step ahead. 1961 comes. The attacks continue. More children, more families, more terror. The island is paralyzed with fear. Parents nail windows shut, install extra locks, sleep with weapons beside their beds. Children are afraid to sleep alone. But the attacks keep happening, sometimes weeks apart, sometimes months. No pattern the police can find.
And here's what makes it worse. The attacker isn't just breaking in, he's bringing things. Ropes. Sometimes he ties children up. Sometimes he takes photographs. Sometimes he just touches them. Sometimes worse. The violence escalates. What started as touching becomes assault. The children's trauma deepens. Families are destroyed by fear and guilt. The Jersey Evening Post starts covering the story. They can't ignore it anymore. They call the attacker the Beast of Jersey. The name sticks. By 1963, the case is famous, not just on Jersey, but across Britain. National newspapers pick it up. The small island becomes known for one thing: fear. The police bring in experts from mainland Britain. Scotland Yard sends detectives. They review evidence, interview victims, study the patterns. And they realize something disturbing. This isn't random. The attacker is choosing his victims carefully. He's watching families, learning their routines, picking vulnerable targets. He knows which homes have children, which rooms they sleep in, when parents will be asleep, when to strike. This level of planning suggests someone local, someone who lives on the island, someone who can blend in, who people trust. The police start looking at men with access to children: teachers, youth workers, coaches. They investigate. They find nothing. Meanwhile, the beast is getting bolder. In 1965, he attacks a 14-year-old girl in her home. Her parents hear her scream and rush in. They see him, a figure in a mask and wig, painted nails, bizarre clothing. The father tries to grab him, but the beast is strong. He throws the father aside and escapes through a window, drops 2 stories to the ground, runs into the darkness. The father is a big man, former military, strong, and he couldn't hold the beast. This tells the police something important. They're looking for someone very physically strong. 1966, 1967, 1968, the attacks continue. The island lives in terror. Property values drop. Tourism suffers. Jersey's reputation is ruined. Families with children start leaving, moving to mainland Britain, to France, anywhere but Jersey. The island is dying. And still the police have nothing. No solid leads, no suspects, just a growing list of traumatized children and desperate families. Then, in 1969, something changes. A pattern emerges. The attacks seem to cluster in certain areas: St. Martin, St. John, St. Lawrence, rural parishes, homes with easy escape routes, close to wooded areas. The police focus their patrols. They watch these areas more carefully. They're getting closer. But they're running out of time, because the beast is changing. The attacks are becoming more violent, more aggressive. It's not just touching anymore, it's full assault. The police fear it's only a matter of time before someone is killed. July 11th, 1971, nearly midnight, a police car is on routine patrol on a rural road near St. Martin. Officer Jim Finley is driving. His partner is beside him. They see brake lights ahead. A car pulled to the side of the road, engine running, no one inside. This is suspicious. Middle of nowhere, middle of the night. They decide to investigate. Officer Finley gets out, approaches the car, a van actually. He looks inside, nothing obvious. He walks around to the back. And that's when the van's owner comes running out of the darkness, running toward the van, toward escape. The officers see him, see his face in the headlights. They recognize him. Edward Paisnel, local builder, 53 years old, married, father, respected member of the community. Officer Finley calls out, "Mr. Paisnel, everything all right?" Paisnel freezes, just for a second, then he tries to run. But there are 2 officers and only one of him. They grab him, wrestle him to the ground. He fights like an animal, incredibly strong, but they hold him. And that's when they notice what he's wearing. A homemade mask, grotesque, with pointed ears. A wig, black. Women's clothes underneath a heavy coat. Painted nails. And around his waist, a belt with items hanging from it. Rope, tape, a knife. Officer Finley realizes what they've caught. Jesus Christ, it's him. It's the beast. They search Paisnel's van. Inside, they find more items. Photographs of children. Hundreds of them. Some in various states of undress, some clearly assaulted. They find costumes, multiple wigs, different masks, props for his performances. They find a detailed journal with dates, addresses, names, a record of every single attack. 11 years of crimes, all documented. The Beast of Jersey has been caught, finally, after 11 years of terror. But who is Edward Paisnel? How did a seemingly normal man become a monster? Edward Paisnel was born in Jersey in 1925. Normal childhood. Served in the British Army. Came home after the war. Got married in 1955 to a local woman named Joan. They couldn't have children, so they fostered. Over the years, they took in dozens of foster children, gave them a home. Paisnel was known as a kind foster father, patient, caring. The children loved him. He worked as a builder, good at his job, reliable. People trusted him. He had access to homes all across the island, knew the layout of properties, knew which families had children, which rooms were which. On the outside, perfect citizen, loving husband, caring father figure, respected tradesman. But inside, something dark, something twisted, something that had been growing since at least 1960, maybe longer. The police searched Paisnel's home. They find a secret room, hidden behind a false wall in the attic. Inside, they find the full extent of his crimes. More photographs, thousands, children from across the island, some of his victims, some of his foster children, some of children whose homes he'd worked on. They find detailed plans, maps of the island with homes marked, notes on families, routines, schedules. He'd been planning these attacks for years, maybe decades. They find books, occult books, satanic texts, writings about rituals and power. Paisnel believed he was some kind of dark priest. The costume wasn't random, it was ceremonial. He thought he was performing rituals. The foster children are interviewed. They reveal that Paisnel abused many of them for years, under the same roof as his unsuspecting wife. The police realize the full scope. Paisnel didn't start with the home invasions. He started with the children in his own home, the foster children. Then he expanded to the island, to strangers' children. For over a decade, possibly longer, he'd been living a double life. Model citizen by day, monster by night. And nobody suspected. Not his wife, not his neighbors, not the community that trusted him with their most vulnerable children. The trial begins in November 1971. The evidence is overwhelming. The photographs, the journal, the costumes, the testimony from dozens of victims. Paisnel shows no remorse, sits silently through the trial, barely reacts to the testimony, doesn't apologize, doesn't explain. His wife, Joan, testifies. She says she had no idea. She shared a bed with this man for 16 years and never knew. She's devastated, broken. How could she not know? The psychiatrists who evaluate Paisnel are baffled. He's not legally insane. He knew what he was doing was wrong. He planned carefully, took precautions. That's not insanity. That's calculation. He shows characteristics of psychopathy, no empathy, no remorse, able to maintain a normal facade while committing horrific acts. But he's not delusional. He's just evil. The jury deliberates for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. 13 charges, representing dozens of victims. Hundreds if you count all the children he photographed and abused.
December 1971. Sentencing. The judge looks at Paisnel with disgust. You are a danger to society, particularly to children. You will be imprisoned for 30 years. 30 years. The longest sentence given in Jersey at that time. Paisnel is 53 years old. He'll be 83 when released, if he survives prison. Edward Paisnel is sent to a maximum security prison in England. Jersey doesn't have facilities for someone like him. And honestly, Jersey wants him gone, wants to forget. But can they forget? Can the island heal? The victims, now adults, say no. The trauma stays with them. Nightmares, fear, trust issues, ruined childhoods that affect their entire lives. The foster children he abused? Even worse. They trusted him, called him dad, and he betrayed them in the worst possible way. Joan Paisnel divorces him, changes her name, leaves Jersey, tries to build a new life, but she's haunted too. How did she not know? How did she sleep next to a monster? The island itself changes.
The innocence is gone. Doors stay locked now. Windows are secured. Children aren't allowed to play outside after dark. Jersey learned that monsters can be neighbors, friends, people you trust. The police face criticism. How did this go on for 11 years? How did they not catch him sooner? The investigation was criticized as incompetent, too small, too slow, too trusting of locals. Changes are made. Better training, better equipment, cooperation with mainland police. Jersey's police force modernizes, but too late for Paisnel's victims. Edward Paisnel serves his time quietly, keeps to himself in prison. Other inmates know what he did. Child predators don't last long in prison. But Paisnel is strong and mean and dangerous. People leave him alone. He's released in 1994, 76 years old, served 23 years of his 30-year sentence. Good behavior, they say, as if he deserves any credit. He's sent to a secure facility, not quite a prison, not quite free. He's too dangerous to release fully, too old to really control. He dies there in 1994, just months after his release. Heart attack, 76 years old. Edward Paisnel is gone, but his legacy remains. The Beast of Jersey changed the island forever, changed how people think about safety, about trust, about evil hiding in plain sight. Today, Jersey has moved on. Tourism is back, property values recovered. Life continues. But talk to anyone who lived through those years, and they remember. They remember the fear, the locked doors, the nightmares, the beast. And they remember the lesson that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like your neighbor, your coworker, the man who fixes your roof, the foster father caring for children. Edward Paisnel wore a mask when he attacked, but his real mask was the one he wore every day, the mask of normalcy, of respectability, of trustworthiness. That was his most effective disguise. The victims of Edward Paisnel are in their 60s and 70s now. Some have spoken publicly about their experiences. Most prefer to stay silent. The shame, even though they did nothing wrong, stays with them. The foster children he abused, many struggled with addiction, mental illness, broken relationships. The betrayal of someone who was supposed to protect them damaged them in ways that never fully heal. Jersey itself learned painful lessons about the danger of small-town thinking, about trusting appearances, about the importance of listening to children, about the reality that evil can live anywhere. In 1992, investigations into the Eau de la Garenne children's home in Jersey revealed decades of abuse. The Paisnel case had taught them nothing. Or rather, it taught them that such horrors could happen in their community, but they still failed to protect children. The island had to confront uncomfortable truths about itself, about how it protected its reputation over its children, about how it valued appearances over safety.
Edward Paisnel operated for 11 years because the system failed to connect cases, failed to investigate thoroughly, failed to prioritize children's safety over avoiding scandal. He operated for 11 years because people didn't want to believe a respected member of the community could do such things. Cognitive dissonance is a powerful thing. It's easier to doubt a child than to believe your neighbor is a monster. He operated for 11 years because he was smart, careful, patient, and because the island was small enough for him to know everyone's movements, but big enough for him to hide. Today, the case is studied in criminal psychology courses. Edward Paisnel is a textbook example of an organized predator, someone who plans meticulously, who maintains a double life, who uses his position in the community to access victims. He's also studied as an example of how abusers groom entire communities, not just children. He built trust, reputation, made himself seem beyond suspicion. When people suspected him, they dismissed the thought, not Ed, not our Ed, he's too kind, too normal. That's how predators work. They hide in plain sight. They make themselves trusted. They make suspicion seem absurd. The Beast of Jersey isn't just Edward Paisnel's story. It's a story about how communities protect themselves,
how they protect their image, how they want to believe they're safe, even when evidence suggests otherwise. It's a story about how we fail to protect children because we'd rather believe everything is fine than confront uncomfortable realities. It's a story about how monsters are made, or maybe just how they're hidden. We don't know what made Paisnel the way he was. Childhood trauma, brain damage, born that way? The psychiatrists couldn't agree. What we do know is that for 11 years he terrorized an entire island, traumatized dozens of children, destroyed families, changed a community forever. And when he was finally caught, it wasn't because of good police work. It wasn't because someone suspected him. It was pure luck, a random traffic stop. Wrong place, wrong time. For him at least. Right place, right time for his potential victims. How many more children would have been hurt if Officer Finley hadn't noticed that van? How much longer would Paisnel have operated? Another year? 5 years? 10? We'll never know. But we know this. Evil doesn't announce itself. It doesn't wear a sign. The real Edward Paisnel didn't look like the beast. He looked like everyone else. That's the truly terrifying part. The Beast of Jersey is dead, but the lessons remain. Trust, but verify. Believe children. Investigate thoroughly. Don't let reputation shield predators. Don't prioritize comfort over truth. These lessons are written in the trauma of dozens of victims, paid for with stolen childhoods and broken lives. We remember them. We remember what happened. We remember so it doesn't happen again. Edward Paisnel is gone, but vigilance must remain.